Hello, I am the narrator. Before this episode begins, Maddie will be talking about, well, cannibalism. Best way to describe it. Without further ado, the show begins. Good morning, everybody. My name is Maddie, and today we're going to be talking about the cannibals. What is it? And did it come from a movie or a video game? Now, we're going to be talking about the cannibals from the game The Forest. This is a bit of an older game. So of course, in this game, there are a few different types of cannibals. There is, of course, the fast but slow. Did I say fast and slow? Fast but weak. There's strong but slow. And then there are ones that are long range that shoot like flame balls almost. So, yeah. And then there's also a leader who can call backup. He is normally identified with like having a bunch of limbs on him. Looks like a humanoid peacock. It's disturbing. And lastly, there are the abominations, which are for another day. They're just called mutants, but they... Holy cow. You've seen some of them? But anyways. So there's like a few ways to keep the cannibals away from you because they're kind of like the enemy in the game. There is chopping up their bodies when after a fight, you know, whatever dead cannibals chopping them up, or setting on fire their totems called effigies. But there's always a but. But be warned that although this may work, it could also make them more aggressive. So just play your cards right and know your chances. So this game, The Forest, is, in my opinion, very unique because it's kind of like an open world survival game as well as being a horror game at the same time. So, of course, you're on this island. It was a very big island, too. Something is touching my lip. It's a very big island. And, your objective is to survive, as well as find your son, because he went missing, and get off the island. So there is kind of an objective. It isn't just like in a survival game that just lasts forever. There is kind of an objective and an ending. And also horror. I don't know if I mentioned the horror. Like, you just have to see it to know it's horror.
The interview. How close is it related to the inspiration?
Hello, Maddie here with the interview. I'm here with somebody who is a big fan of horror games. So tell me a little bit about yourself. My name is Joe, and I just love games that are scary. It makes you more immersed into them. Are you familiar with the game The Forest? Yes, I think this is a very unique type of game for being an open world horror game. You have to try and survive. Just like surviving in the real world, with just more... Well, it's just, much more real feeling. Then, what can you tell me about the cannibals in this game? Now, there are a few different types of enemies, but the main enemy and the most common are the cannibals. You can often find them running in a group of 2 to 5, and they can even be higher than that if you're unlucky. They are also become more aggressive the longer you stay on the island. Thank you for your time. This has been Maddie with the interview. Back to the main show. Now, I already know exactly what to research about. The problem is what category it should have been in, because it's like a group of people on an island. You know? So I don't know if that should be under people or a place. So it's under place. This island is literally called Cannibal Island because that was the only way people could survive this tragedy. So I hope you're excited because this is a very like gruesome story, both the game and the zombie. Why do I want to call them zombies? The Cannibal Island. Because the game is very body gore. And then the tragedy is very almost graphic.
A clip of the character. And are there any Easter eggs or hidden things?
Down in the description there is a kind of like preview showing of the forest, so you'll be able to see like some of the pretty forest as well as the very gruesome humanoids and cannibals. But also, something I found really interesting about these cannibals is some of the details, like personality details that was put into the game. For instance, say you're getting attacked by a horde of both men and women. If you kill a man, the males, in front of a woman, she will most likely drop down on her knees immediately and start weeping over the dead body. But if you reverse that and whack a woman down in front of a male, their aggression will most likely peak. They will become more angry because you did that. Also, the leader, now I kind of mentioned like he can call for backup, but he also doesn't fight you unless you attack first. And second, he will most likely sneak off while there's a battle going on and destroy your camp. That's right. He's a jerk. Good morning, everybody. My name is Maddie, and today we're going to be talking about Cannibal Island.
Where is this area located, and how do you get there? Information about the place.
Now, Cannibal Island is a legitimate place you can go to. This isn't like a figment of your imagination or a made-up place. This is a legitimate thing you can go to. I don't know if you really want to. But basically, this is a real place, and it's called Nazonzik, which is an island located in Russia. And it was a horrible tragedy that happened in 1933, which was just 6 years before World War II. And there are still people that survived the Holocaust that are alive in 2023. So there is a chance, don't quote me on this, that people from that island are still alive and have experienced that horrific event. Similar to Alcatraz, which is actually a prison located in America, it's structured on an island to prevent more escaping, to make it like even almost impossible. Nazonzik was very similar in that way of being located on an island, but there was just a lot less structure with the whole plan and idea and everything. Just everything. It fell apart almost not even a week in, and it failed, and people were like dying and eating each other. Without tools, shelter, or food, and surrounded by armed guards, the prisoners quickly fell victim to starvation, disease, violence, and brutal elements. Simply with the lack of help, The prisoners simply turned on each other. You see, okay, so there was, in a way, supposed to be construction and actual settlement. They want to actually inhabit that island. But you see, the problem was, not only did they have nothing, there were way too many worker ratio than possible work that could get done. And a lot of stuff were preventing them from getting the work that needed to be done. So it was very much a struggle, and everything clashed with itself. Yeah.
Any secrets, curses, or something good or bad about this place? What does it look like?
Russia was hiding what was happening in Cannibal Island. Mainly because it was just crazy. And second, they were like kind of legitimately torturing these people. Saying that they were all prisoners, but in a way, a lot of the people that were coming in were very much innocent.
Once he went to Novosibirsk and stopped at a central market. They surrounded the market and arrested anyone who wasn't carrying documents. Everyone, including children and women. This was a story of a civilian that lived in Russia the time that the corrupted idea of bringing people to this island would be better. But in fact, they brought a bunch of innocent people onto that island to die.
This Cannibal Island that people were transported to was uninhabitable. Do you know what that means? That means there's no resources for us to survive on. Nothing. So they already set them up for failure. I don't know why I said us. But it's also in a swampy area, and because of how up north Russia is, even though it was summer at that time, there was still ice on the water and freezing rain that people died from.
What lives there, and does it have any powers? Interview.
Hello, Maddie here with the interview. So, what's your name?
Yes, my name is Annie.
You are one of the survivors of Cannibal Island, so can you give me a little description of what happened there?
Well, in order for people to survive, they had to commit cannibalism. Some would knock off people who were on the edge of death, while others tied up women and cut off their body parts. It wasn't after many investigations happened, private investigations, before the Soviet Union did one themselves and arrested government officials for only 1 to 3 years.
Thank you for your time. This has been Maddie with the interview. Back to the main show.
Does this place still exist? Questions.
Are you ready? You know what this means. I have a question. So, why was Russia so persistent with passports? Now, I kind of barely mentioned passports, but basically, that was kind of the whole reason people were pushed to that island in the first place. There's actually kind of 2 reasons that Russia started doing it. First off, a bunch of people on that side, near Nazanzik, was fleeing and just mass leaving that place, just almost deserted and unfunctional. So they were like, okay, we're gonna just pull them back that way. And that was their idea, is if somebody was not in their proper place, whether if it's just a simple little store or meeting somebody, if you did not have the documents, you were out of there. Second, it was also to like extremely crack down on aliens and possible terrorists and just illegal immigrants, period. Yeah, that's why they kind of started doing it. And with that, that is unfortunately the end of the episode. If you are fascinated by both the forest cannibals and Cannibal Island, there are links in the description that go more into detail about all of the information we found about it. If you've enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, and have a nice day. Good night. Come with me, and you'll see a world of absolutely terror, with people eating others. Nazinski, Nazinski, Nazonski, Nazonski, Nazonzi, Nazonzik. Yibbity yibbity yibbity. That's what they're called. It was just a disaster. And honestly, I recommend reading the description for Cannibal Island, because there's a lot that I cut out because of the gruesome details that some of the survivors had mentioned. So. And honestly, like, why not read more about what every topic I'm talking about? Because there's always going to be something I cut out from the information, which could be massive, like Jabba the Hutt. There was so much I had to cut out. And even this, just because... yeah. And even like Ted Bundy, there was like so much about rape, and I honestly didn't feel comfortable talking about it. But I mentioned it. This is the end of the video, end of the video, end of the video. Pew pew. End of the video, end of the video. This is the end of the video. Pew pew. Pew pew. Pew pew. End of the video, end of the video, end of the video. Oh oh.